According to a new study published by University of Texas researchers in the Journal of Aging Studies, only about 1/3 of U.S. adults would take a pill allowing them to live forever, if such a pill were to exist. And according to me, that's late. The study only involved about 900 participants, so that's the good news. I'd hardly say 900 people is really a big enough sample to make such a huge claim, but still, about 2/3 of those people don't want to live forever. 42% of them said outright that they just wouldn't take the hypothetical immortality pill, while 25% said they weren't sure. I don't know what's lamer, to not want to live forever or to not be sure. For the study, the researchers broke the participants down into 3 age groups: young adults from 18 to 29, younger seniors with the average age of 72, and a third group of older seniors with the average age of 88. Then they asked all 3 groups these 3 questions. 1. If doctors developed a pill that enabled you to live forever at your current age, would you take it? 2. What is the youngest age at which you would be willing to live forever? And 3. What is the oldest age at which you would be willing to live forever? And they found the difference between how those 3 groups answered was relatively small. In other words, it wasn't like all the young people were like, hell yeah, I'll live forever, while the older people were like, hell no, I'm tired of all this nonsense. No, they all answered pretty much the same, except when it came to the question of which age they would be willing to live forever. For the younger adults, the average age they wanted to live forever was between 23 and 42. For the middle group, it was between 44 and 69. And for the older group, it was between 52 and 77. The researchers concluded from the study that young adults generally have more negative attitudes toward aging, as well as more anxiety about death, while older adults are more like, about the whole thing. Which is pretty interesting, considering that scientists are hard at work in labs across the entire globe on projects with the specific goal of extending our lives. Everyone just takes it for granted that everyone wants to live forever, but at least in this study, that is not necessarily the case. Personally, I would take that immortality pill, even though I know that I'd probably end up bitter and twisted and insane like all immortal characters in any story. Because I find life pretty interesting, even with all the lame people around, such as the ones.
Hey, man, Shalom, Kala, Yahweh, Shalom to the left. Now, the reason I wanted to make this video, this is a short video, is we're going to have people that actually be immortal. Ain't going to be no pills and none of that shit involved. You're going to have people that actually be able to live that long. The Most High going to set it up like that. That's why he wanted us to turn back to him, so we can clean up our ways, clean up our acts. He can deliver us and give us new bodies. Now, I'm going to pull this one scripture too. It's one of my favorite scriptures as well. Let's see. It's in the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 15. Let's just read on through this chapter. This is the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse. Let's see. Let's start at verse 50. It says, "Now I say this, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of Yahweh, neither does corruption inherit incorruption. Behold, I show you a mystery," because this is mysterious. You tell the average person this. I went over this precept numerous times. You tell the average person this, they're going to be like, oh, we all got to die someday. But according to this, we don't all got to die. Now it says, "Behold, I'll show you a mystery. We should not all sleep, but we should all be changed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. For the trumpet should sound, and the dead should be raised incorruptible, and we should be changed. For this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality." And that's why I want to make this video, because I happen to see this. And I go back to it some more about the 2/3 as well. And I said, "So one is corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and his mortal have put on immortality. It shall be brought to pass as saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory. O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory? And the sting of death is sin." And that's the only reason why we die. Because the wages of sin is death. So the more you sin, the quicker you die. I always see certain people that end up perishing at a rapid pace, and they be like, the good die young. You know the hell they don't. A lot of people that be dying young like that, but they be out here being wild as fuck. And the Most High just be fed up with them and just go ahead and take them up out of here. And that's just how it be. And then they actually have to live out their judgment as well. So some bring their judgment quicker. That's why there's one precept. I'm going to get to it in a minute. There's one precept basically goes into it. Don't be over righteous or don't be over wicked. But anyway, so the sin is death is sin, and the strength of sin is the law. That's why it's beneficial to practice keeping the law, the commandments. And we can't keep them all perfectly because let me get the exact number on this. Let's say it's over like, what, 600 and some laws? If I ain't mistaken. Said the most common figure given by the Jews for the total number of laws in the law of Moses. And yeah, people, they still twist that up because it's really the law of Yahweh. It just was given to Moses to be their mediator and give to us. God says the law of Moses is 613. So right now, at this point in time, we can't practice keeping all of them laws to a T. People can keep a large portion of it. Even back then, it was going off. That's why they had the Levitical priests, the Levites. They had to do the sacrifices and all that different stuff, the atonement for sins, peace offerings, so on and so on. But once this actually happened, when the Most High gave us a new body, a new vessel for our spirit to dwell in, we ain't gonna have to go to the new Levite priests, because we all gonna carry ourselves as kings and priests, starting with the men first. Let me go. Let's see what else I want to read on. Alright, yeah, that's it on that one. That's basically what that mystery is talking about. There ain't gonna be no pill. You ain't need no pill to be living immortal. That's Esau. They nonsense. The 2/3, on the contrary, is you have people that really don't want to live forever. They don't want to just dwell in righteousness. It's in the book of Zechariah, chapter 13. Scroll on down. I'm going to start at verse 2 and just read on down. It says, "And it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord of hosts, that I will cut off the names of the idols out of the land." So ain't going to be no more worshiping Ogon and Shogun, or worshiping the Santeria, the breweria, and all that other shit. Ain't gonna be none of that. You know, be worshiping no Baal or no Molech or no Ishtar or Easter or whatever other little deities, and worshiping no stars and no planets and shit. All that stuff gonna be cut off. It says, "And they shall no more be remembered. And I also will cause the prophets and the unclean spirit to pass out of the land, and it shall come to pass that one, and it shall prophesy. Then his father and his mother that begat him shall say unto him, Thou shalt not live, for thou speakest lies in the name of the Lord. And his father and his mother that begat him shall trust him through when he prophesied. And it shall come to pass in that day that the prophet shall be ashamed every one of his vision. When he hath prophesied, neither shall they wear a rough garment to deceive, but he shall say, I am not a prophet, I am a husband. For man taught me to keep cattle from my youth. And one shall say to him, What are these wounds in thy hands? And then he shall answer, Those with which I was wounded in the house of my friends. And let's go down some more. Verse 7, it says, Awake, O sword against my shepherd, and against the man that is my fellow, says the Lord of hosts, smite the shepherd, and the sheep shall be scattered, and I will turn my hand upon the little ones. And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord Yahweh, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. It's going to be 2/3 of our people that's actually going to perish. They don't want to live immortal. They don't want to practice keeping any of these laws. According to a lot of people, they say, oh, the law is done away with. Now we got a precept on that as well, too. Now we read on some more. In verse 9 it says, And I will bring the third part to the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. They shall call upon my name, which your name is Yahweh, and the Son's name is Yahweh Shah. It says, And I will hear them, and I will say, It is my people. And they shall say, Yahweh is my power. And one precept that goes into the law not being done away with. Let's see if I type it in the right way. Sometimes it'll pop up different. It's the book of Matthew, chapter 5. Let's see, I'm gonna pull it up. Chapter 5, verse, let's see exactly what. I'm sorry, verse 14, it says, "You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it on the bushel, put it on the candlestick and give it light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven." Because when people ask you, it's certain stuff that you do, you may be so used to it, and it just flow naturally to you. When people ask you, you know, whether to be self-absorbed or selfish, self-centered, was to glorify the Most High. He don't want to give you the ability to have different talents, to be able to speak in tongues, to be able to edify, prophesy, to be able to help heal people with herbs and stuff like that. So when they ask how you learn this information, where you get this from, was to glorify the Father which is in heaven. Some people look at you like you're weird. They'll be like, well, why you won't say it's just you? Like, it's deeper than that. Well, in verse 17 it says, "Think not that I have come to destroy the law or the prophets. I have not come to destroy but to fulfill." So the law was never done away with. It was never done away with, I should say. Yeah, people would be like, "Oh, you got to keep that law. That was back then at them times." No, it wasn't done away with. It says, "Till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall, and no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled. Whosoever therefore shall break one of the least commandments, shall teach men so." Because you have people teaching this, like, oh, you can break that commandment, you can break that law. It says he should be called the least in the kingdom of heaven, but whosoever shall do and teach them. That's why it's beneficial to know them different laws, study the book of Leviticus, read Deuteronomy as well, study them laws, and actually practice them and share it with Akim. Because it starts with them so they can carry themselves a certain way. And then those of their family or their household will follow suit. And I says, but whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. And when you want to be called great, you don't want to be the least. There's going to be a hierarchy. This is another example right here that everybody's not going to be moving on the same level. It's going to be levels. Yeah, let me see what other precept I want to pull as well before I end this up. Okay, let me go back to that. Before I go into this one, there's something else that just popped back in my mind that I was thinking about earlier. It's the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, and verse 16. Now, the Most High have a number of time. Everybody have a appointed time. But you don't want to tempt the Most High either. That's in the scriptures as well. But yeah, let me get that before I read this. find this real quick. It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6, verse 16. It says, "You should not tempt the Lord your power as you tempt me in the sun." And you have a lot of people that do that. Oh, if God love me, he'll make sure. No. Don't play them games and tempt the Most High. He'll give you over to all that nonsense. It says, we read on some more on verse 17, it says, "You should diligently keep the commandments of the Lord your power, and his testimonies and his statutes which he have commanded thee, and thou shalt do which is right and good in the sight of the Lord." And it's not about what other people see, even though the scripture says, "Let your light shine before men." It's really about pleasing the Most High. What you doing on your day-to-day basis when you go out, when the camera's off. You ain't on no live streams or none of that stuff. When the Most High send the angels, you'll monitor you and watch what you really doing. It says that it may be well with thee, and that thou mayest go in and possess the good land which the Lord sware unto thy fathers. And that's what we're looking forward to. And you got Esau over there fighting for that land over there. Now they got a new so-called government prime minister, and I'll make a lesson on that later. Got the guy Naphtali, which that guy having that name, just believe they know about who the real 12 tribes are for real. Because you got Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Issachar, Naphtali, Manasseh, Zebulun, Reuben, Gad, Ephraim, all them different tribes. They know about them tribes. They know what's up now. And then you got the guy basically saying he want to kick people from out of that land, which they already started doing that anyway. But this guy ex-commando, so he's gonna turn up the volume. Some more shit gonna pop off just because of that little move. So, like I said, I'll make a video on that later. I don't want to write this out to be edifying as well. But anyway, let me get back to what I was talking about. Now, the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, verse. Let's see exactly what I want to go at. Verse 16, it says, okay, but I'm going to start at verse 15. It says, "All things have I seen in the days of my vanity. There is a just man that perish in his righteousness, and there are a wicked man that prolongeth his life in wickedness. Be not overmuch wicked, or be not righteous overmuch, neither make thyself overwise. Why shouldest thou destroy thyself?" Because you don't want to be trying to be too perfect, doing all this. Yeah, it's impossible right now. You're not going to do that right now. You don't want to destroy yourself. You'll wear yourself out. Trying to read all the books on the world. Trying to do the most damn push-ups and sit-ups and all that stuff. You end up destroying yourself. It says, and also on the contrary, because it's a balance, it says, "Be not overmuch wicked, neither be thou foolish." So if you know something can bring you harm, don't be wicked and try to dive deep into it anyway. Don't be foolish with it. It says, "Why shouldest thou die before thy time? It is good that thou shouldest take hold of this, yet also from this withdraw not thine hand, but he that feareth Yahweh shall come forth of them all." So just applying this stuff right here, this is going to actually be the key. And you're going to have 2/3 as well. They're going to take that Karagma, that mark, and hopefully they'll strike this video because of that. But that 1/3, they're not taking that. They're going to be able to have a sound mind, be able to carry themselves through these perilous times, just so they can get to this, because that's the goal right there. Nobody want to die and then have to be born again to be a baby. I was sitting back earlier meditating, thinking about stuff I remember from like when I was 3 years old up until now. I want to relive that out. So I just wanted to bring this out. I don't want to write this out. This is edifying. Shalom to the elect and call Allah Yahweh Shem Yahweh.